Welcome, my beautiful souls, and welcome to our twin flame reading. Um, I put on my love beads. These are, oh, I forget the stone now, but they come as a 3-pack, but they're for love. So I put them on for you. Um, so what we're going to do here today, guys, is we're going to look at the divine masculine's energy, and we're going to look at the divine feminine's energy. We're going to connect the two. So they'll each have their own deck, and then we'll use the Gilded Tarot to connect them and then go back and clarify if needed. I usually do it anyways because I feel like it just takes us a level deeper. And I am looking for real answers for you. By the way, sometimes like a you watch Twin Flame, it's like, doesn't really sound like my story. Well, I try to do a twin flame every month. So, you could look back at I think I have it called the Twin Flame and Soulmate playlist and just read the titles and see if anything calls to you. If you feel, you know, if you feel you're not in this reading. However, I have to say that I read through my spirit guides, who connect to your spirit guides. So I honestly feel whoever comes to the reading, chances are you're meant to be here. So, twin flame, divine feminine, divine masculine. Will they come together in this lifetime? You know, some people feel like if two twins are living in the same lifetime, then they'll automatically come together. I don't feel like that's the case, because you do have runners, you have chasers, and that can switch. I'm in a twin flame relationship, and I became the runner, which is very interesting, but I did, until I got caught. But that was a good thing, being caught. So, anyways, I just want you to know that. And I also am a big believer in, yeah, there's some people who are lucky enough to meet a twin early in life and you get to spend the rest of your lives together. But for the majority, I feel like twins come down here into this lifetime. Each twin has certain goals that they want to achieve, certain experiences they want to have, singular of each other. Um, and then when they do come together, I feel like they're already, I'm not going to say that twins can't help heal each other. They certainly can, and they do, though they are the mirror to your soul. So, that can be difficult too, because sometimes through your twin, you may see things that you may not like, but then in reflection, you may be like, okay, wait a minute, I also do that. So that's where it can be a little difficult. But if you can get past that, and understand that you're really revealing each other's soul, um, the lessons that you've learned, and then you come together. To me, it's like my power couple, truly my power couple. Doesn't promise that everything's going to be, you know, hunky dory. But I feel like once we like actually come into union, then whatever comes up, we work it out together. So that's just what I feel. But yeah, like don't beat yourself up if you're on this journey. And I also don't feel like you should wait, because I feel like if it's meant to happen, it's going to happen. Of course, we have free will, but when you talk about a twin flame, I feel like our guides can somewhat override that. So it is a journey. It can be a long, difficult journey. It can be a beautiful journey. In the long run, it really is a beautiful journey. But it gives you a lot of opportunities to really truly know yourself. And I feel like that's really important because, think about the divine masculine, the divine feminine. That means to me like growth, right? Growth. So, anyways, let's go ahead and get into the reading because these do take quite a while. But that's because I'm really looking at both energy and then connecting them. I want to know if this is going to come together. I want to know how, when, what you need to know, what they need to know. Because chances are I have both here, masculine and feminine. So I always keep that in mind. But when I do this reading, I do break it down to the divine masculine on one side, divine feminine on the other side. But you could be either. And I do, this is my belief, but I feel like you can switch in between at the same time. Let's say you're single, let's say you're a single mom. Well, you almost have to take on that masculine energy, along with the feminine energy. And same for like a single father. So, anyway, this is what I'm going to do. I am going to let Mother Mary open up our reading. I did bring out the major arcanas, but I'm going to take one for each one. So we'll do that in a minute. Again, we will use the Gilded Tarot to clarify and go deeper. For the Divine Feminine, I'm going to use the Light Seers. We're going to put that right up here. And Divine Masculine, I'm going to use the Universal Tarot. So let's go ahead and what I'm going to do with Mother Mary, it's for both. It's regarding this love, this relationship. Some of you haven't even met your twin yet. All of a sudden, I feel that. Like, some of you just haven't met. I just haven't met you yet. Michael Bublé. All right. So, Mother Mary's ready. Let me grab a drink of coffee. By the way, I feel like to me what it feels like was after that Virgo full moon. Okay, we got two, which was also a total lunar eclipse. I feel like since then, energy has been changing. Energy has been lifting. Um, doesn't mean everything's perfect, but I feel like things are getting better for a lot of people. So I feel very good about this reading. Like I'm feeling very hopeful. All right, so we have health. My prayers for healing miracles have been heard and answered. Someone could have some health problems. But you know what I really feel like this is? This is my mind. Like my mind is being healed. Like my thought system. Anxiety. Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that. Like, and it feels good. It's almost like I have freedom, like within my thoughts again. And then we have, God. I step out of the way and surrender any need for control in order to make room for God's healing love to flow through me and this situation. Well, well, well. You just merely need to step out of the way. That's interesting because many times we do want to push our own agenda. A twin flame, listen, it's predestined. And who knows better than God? Who knows better than God? So, to me, I kind of love that we have this energy. And honestly, yes, one could be suffering some health conditions, but what I'm picking up on is it's so funny. If I'm reading between the lines, I just watched the movie Silver Lining Playbook, which was a movie that my son and I I mean, we probably watched it 30 times. I just love it. And I just watched it the other night, and if I was reading the signs, then again, I feel like this is more about one's thought system. Okay, we're actually going to put these away because these readings do take up my whole table. All right, so the major arcanas. Give them a cut. And I'm pulling instead of shuffling because I only want one. Well, I want two, one for each one. I feel like she's buried down here. Yep, that's it. Okay. All right, so let's see what we have for the masculine. Well, hello, world. Hello, next chapter. You know what's interesting is, we're in this 9th year of a 9-year chapter. And then we're starting a brand new 9-year chapter. Well, that to me is what the world represents. But in the middle of, well, what looks like a wreath is the Fool. That to me is speaking about, well, we're looking at the masculine right now, their spirituality. It's like they're getting ready to walk through the threshold of their spirituality. I'm wondering if they're having like a spiritual awakening. This is someone who's ready for the next chapter. So, well, I shouldn't say that. Um, but let's just say it's going to present itself. Now, the good news also is when you think of the Fool, this is about putting the past in the past. Because I get a feeling for some of you that you've each been in your own relationships, but I feel like they just don't hold the weight that the two of you will. So I love this. Great omen. We will put that right there. And we'll look at the feminines when we do the feminine. Okay. So let's go ahead and open up the masculine and see what's going on. What's he doing? What's he been up to? What's he thinking? Again, he or she. All right, I'm going to bring this lid down. Grab one more cup of coffee or one more drink. But of course, I'm going to chug it. All right, and I would advise for us just to take a second and just clear our mind. I actually just finished a meditation about twin flames and soulmates and how to manifest them. I'll release that later. It's going to be a podcast. So there won't be, I may put some pictures behind it, but um, just some good information I want you to know. So certainly ask your spirit guides to give you signs of confirmation. They know you're here, but to allow you to feel like if this reading is for you, you should feel it. All right, let's begin. I don't know why all of a sudden I felt like I needed to be quiet, like I'm in a library. Okay, wow. Lots of cards right off the bat. All right, so we have the Four of Pentacles. We have the Two of Pentacles. Interesting, we go from a 4 to a 2. Someone may be thinking about changing houses. The Hierophant. Card of Taurus. But it's about faith. You know what I love about this image? Is you see two keys down here. And it's like the keys to your kingdom. But there's two keys. So This masculine is not alone in his kingdom. It's almost like giving you the keys to unlock this next door. And it comes through faith. We had God. Well, my faith, keeping hope alive. It's interesting that the Hierophant is mirroring, I'm going to take 3 across. The Hierophant is mirroring the 4 of Pentacles. And the only thing with the 4 of Pentacles is sometimes you can be a little resistant to other people's ideas, you know, but I don't really feel that. I feel it because it goes from a 4 to a 2. This is someone who I feel like they are thinking of moving, changing households. Well, look at that. Hello, 10 of Pentacles. House of Abundance. Ah, I can make all the money in the world, but if I'm unhappy in love and I'm with that person, all the money in the world doesn't make it any better. 10 of Wands is a lot of responsibility. It's the energy of carrying the brunt of the responsibility on one's own shoulders. I often feel in the 10 of Wands like subconsciously wishing for a tower. But this person knows like they are actively making a decision. And it literally feels like of changing houses. And then we have the 6 of Wands, which is about victory and success. Well, mirroring the 10 of Pentacles tells me this person's done pretty good in life. Financially. They feel rock solid as it relates to finances. They feel pretty rock solid. I feel like this may be someone interesting how faith is connected to their victory. So this could definitely be someone who maybe wasn't, didn't carry a lot of faith in their younger years. But I feel like now they do. 6 of Wands, it's victory, but it's other people looking up to this person because of action steps that they've taken. Like, how did you overcome this? My faith. I trusted my faith. I stepped out of the way and gave God control. I've been honest with myself. Yes, maybe I'm making a lot of money, but, for some reason it feels like, but it never can stretch far enough. I wonder if they have a partner who, like, spends a lot of money. Like, I make a lot of money, and then they spend a lot of my money. I'm not saying their partner doesn't also. So, okay, so I am feeling like there's a partner. Yet, even as I say that, 10 of Wands is explaining, like, the relationship. It's almost like the masculine is like the one out working. And I'm not going to say the feminine because this is not the feminine. This person that they're with, I don't know. I just feel like they have no problem spending their money. And I feel like it's wearing on the masculine, like it's wearing on him. That's why he's in a decision mode. This may have nothing to do with the feminine at this point, but I feel like it's definitely showing us, the struggle, but it's not in their finances because I feel like they're doing really well in their finances, but I don't feel like they're happy. They may be happy with what they do, in the world. But I feel like in a personal relationship, mm-mm, no, no. I mean, the answer is just no. Especially, they also have the world, right? It's like they want to open up this next chapter. You know, if they're doing fine with their money, then what kind of improvement are they looking for? We have the Page of Swords. Um, so let's talk about this for a second because a page can mean a few different things. First of all, it could be the younger version of you. Um, if you already met this person, could be communication. I often feel page also represents what's in the air, what's in the atmosphere. So potentially some type of communication. Oh, okay, we have the sun, but it's in reverse. Don't let the sun go down on me. That's what it feels like, the Elton John song. Sun in reverse. I can see clearly now the rain is gone. Problem is, though, they can't. Problem is, the sun in reverse, like, it's harder to see. It's interesting because I feel like you're also the sun. And I do feel like some of you, let's just put it this way, for those who know who this person is, it does feel like the sun went down on them. Yet it still lingers, it's still there, right? The sun's still here. The sun really is like a promise of a new day. Well, so is the world. But I literally feel like, I feel like, first of all, they're dealing with someone where there's just no lightness. There's no light. It's dark. Um, I'm not even going to say there's arguing or anything like that because I have a feeling this masculine is not someone who like screams and yells, but they notice like they're feeling that almost like there needs to be a change. And again, it's not in their finances because they're doing just fine. They're they're searching for the light. They may be searching for you because I have a feeling this page and the sun is you. Let's just say the feminine, depending on what side you are. It's almost like there was communication or even miscommunication. But even if it was missed communication, I still feel like this person thought about that, still thinks about that. Did I miss a chance? I can tell you this, they're ready to leave. And yes, they're in that question mode right now, but I do feel like they are going to leave. We have the Six of Pentacles. This is good news because it lets you know what type of person this is: empathetic, compassionate. Doesn't mean I always was. Many times we learn this through our own experiences. This is about that fine arty give and take. Well, again, I feel like this person makes money and the other person takes it. This person definitely would love Probably nothing makes them feel better than helping like the underdog, but with real purpose, helping to lift people up. Could be what they do for a living. 66, by the way. Interesting. I get this feeling that someone might be 66 and think, well, it's too late for me. It's never too late. Okay. We got, oh, look at this. Look at these two fives. Five of Pentacles, the Five of Swords. Are we leaving? Yes. Why? Well, the Five of Swords talks about toxicity. Five of Pentacles, it's kind of like a tower. This person may have stayed longer than they really wanted to, and it could have been a money issue. Like, okay, chances are, like let's say I live in the state of California, there's certain states where it's like 50-50. State of Washington, I know a friend of mine just went through a divorce and it was 50-50. But that could have held them in place for a moment. But I feel like they're definitely realizing that there is toxic energy around them. And he's looking right back at the Five of Pentacles, like he is thinking of giving this tower. I feel like he is willing to take whatever financial hit it may be. But listen, he'll recoup it. He or she, they'll recoup it. They already have the wisdom, the experience. It does feel like their spirituality is, I'm not going to say they've had a spiritual awakening, though in a way, if they haven't, they are on their way, I feel, because they're really reflecting upon their life, making real decisions. And again, that sun in reverse, well, these two fives, that would make perfect sense. By the way, five is about a change. And this person wants change. This person wants to go into this next chapter free and clear of this past. Like, I feel it. See what's on the bottom of their deck. The Emperor. I hope the Empress is on the bottom of the other deck, but we'll see. So, the Emperor. Well, I have to tell you, I love seeing the Emperor because when I think of the divine feminine and divine masculine, I think of the Emperor and the Empress. I think of a lot of things. I think of the lovers, but this is relating to what type of person um, they are. First of all, if you know them, I feel like they're older now. So, I feel like there's been years in between. The Emperor is someone that we can look up to. The Emperor is someone who definitely cares about their fellow man and woman. Um, they are the leader. And it definitely feels like this person is the leader. Other people seeking them out due to action steps that they've taken. It's like, I'm a better man. I'm a better man now. We have the Nine of Swords underneath that. So, I feel like this person is not making decisions lightly. But yet, at the same time, it's very clear what's going on. It's very clear that there's not joy and happiness in this house. There's money, but that feels like that's about it. Okay, I'm going to put that over there to make sure that we have plenty of room. Slide this over a little bit. All right, so now I'm going to bring in the Divine Feminine. Look at her major arcana. Look at this. The High Priestess. This is your intuition. You know, it's funny because I feel for some of you, you feel this energy before it actually arrives. And that's a perfect description of twin flames. The feeling of that energy. Some, I feel like you connect in like the astral plane. It's definitely telling you that your intuition will guide you. Okay. I'm just looking for any sync. Well, okay, so 10 and 10, 6 and 6. So I was just looking for any sync. Ugh, why can't I say the word now? I feel like this person is definitely going by their faith. And, the good thing about that is, yes, I do feel like it's taken a long time for this person to realize that maybe they weren't in the right relationship or, that they aren't happy. Well, I feel like they knew they weren't happy, but I feel like there was a part of them that, maybe they have a child with this person because I feel like there's a sense of like, is this the right thing to do? But I almost feel like like I was pushed to the brink. All right, let's bring in the feminine. So to wrap up, not to wrap it up because we're going to go into much more detail. But so we see the masculine right now in decision mode, but I feel like the decision will be made. Um, I feel like this masculine will leave this relationship, and I'm not going to say it's for another. It's for them. It's because they can't take it anymore. It's because there's no love. I mean, literally, there is no love. All right. I don't know if I cut them, so let's go ahead and give them a cut. But boy, I feel like that wants to come out. So we should. Oh, okay. King of Pentacles. Hmm. Could be a Virgo, Taurus, or Capricorn. But really, what I want you to concentrate on is the person. Look at him holding this big pentacle in his hand. He feels very chilled out. He does remind me of my boyfriend, I have to be honest. Like, he looks a lot like Sam. Um, but do I feel like this is the masculine? Well, especially because he's holding that pentacle. I do. He's looking in. Look at this. The Emperor. Look at that. Already. The Emperor. So the Emperor has jumped from the bottom of this pile over into the masculine's reading. Are the King of Pentacles and the Emperor the same person? I have to say right now, I do feel like they are the same person. I love that big, beautiful German Shepherd by his side. It is a representation of, I feel like it's a spirit guide. Could actually be, um, it's interesting, but I feel like it could really be his dog though. But I feel like if it's his dog, he probably lost his dog. But the spirit of his dog is still there. The essence. Like, I don't feel like we'll ever leave. Um, you know, loyalty. All right. Okay, so we have the Four of Pentacles over here also. Four of Pentacles opening up the masculine's energy. Hmm. Eight of Swords. Bummer. I say bummer because this is a self-created prison. But you know what I love about this image? It's literally like your higher self is looking at your lower self or your earthly self. Remember, you have, I don't know why I'm saying you. You may be over here, but let's just say the feminine has the high priestess. She needs to trust her intuition. In the Eight of Swords, you're not trusting your intuition. Eight of Swords, you're building up walls. So funny because that's a part of what I spoke about in the podcast. I haven't released it yet, but today may be the perfect time to release it. So, self-created prison. That means something did not go right in your life. That means that, one's trying to protect themselves. But, and it is an earthly energy. And I feel like that's why your higher self is like looking down, almost like trying to reach you, asking you to break yourself free. It is also about a new beginning. Will I allow myself to have a new beginning? And, I feel like we have to understand that in the Eight of Swords, because it is a self created prison, it's very hard for energy to reach you. It doesn't make it impossible, but it's resistance right off the bat. This person feels like their hands are tied, but they're loosely tied. Like they could break free whenever they're ready. It feels like they're thinking dark thoughts. Again, it's like their higher self trying to snap them out of it. I feel like we all go through the Eight of Swords one time or another. Um, and truly, when you learn to break yourself free from that, like, well, how do I say that? Like, you don't need these walls. Your intuition is your guide. If we remember that, like, we were given the gift of intuition to help guide us in this lifetime, on this earthly plane, along with our whole spiritual team, then we start to realize, okay, I don't need to build these walls. I just need to trust my intuition. Because listen, for some of you, if you set yourself free, I feel like you may feel this energy before it even arrives. We have the Six of Pentacles. Notice how you're getting similar cards. And then we have, interesting, the Five of Cups. It's like that sun has also gone down on you. You know, now it's showing you why the walls have been built up. It's an emotional issue. Five of Cups is when we're focusing on all that we have lost, which, you know, that makes sense also. But it is the five. So I want you to ask yourself, where is your focus? Do you still have belief, faith, hope? Even if you don't want to, like, let's say you're not even interested in this journey, you still want to think about this energy because there's a lot of blocking over here. And truly, when this person decides or changes their focus, let's say, starts to think about the present, moving into the future, there are two cups that this person is yet to come across. But how would they know with the Eight of Swords here? Some of you, it can certainly relate back to the masculine. And maybe you are missing the masculine. But the thing is, I also feel like for the masculine, like that sun, I feel like the sun went down on me. I've been in this period of darkness, but I do feel like they're freeing themselves. They definitely had the realization of, you know, uh, not what's been holding them back, but they're understanding that they don't have emotional fulfillment. They have financial fulfillment, but not emotional fulfillment. Well, I feel the same thing for the feminine, but yet there's still blocks for the feminine. It's interesting how we have change and a new beginning mirroring each other, but both of them are in somewhat resistant energy. Six of Pentacles right in the middle of that. To me, it just feels like things were not fair in your life. Um, you could have certainly been someone who gave a lot, but didn't receive a lot back. Something is unbalanced in the Six of Pentacles. And again, it is that fine art of give and take. So someone may not have given you what you have given them. I don't feel like it's the masculine. But if you know this masculine, I have a feeling that you were probably thinking about them. Like when you put your head down on the pillow at night. It's almost like where my mind goes is to them. Even if I don't know who they are yet. Again, your intuition is, I feel like, a big part of this. Okay. I'm hoping we get something that shows the feminine freeing herself, or at least being open to whatever potential. I do love that the Emperor came from the bottom of the masculine's deck right into the feminine's top line. Eight of Wands. Why can't I pick that up? What I think about, I bring about. Now, I don't love that it's under the Eight of Swords because if I'm in a lot of worry here, and that's the energy I'm manifesting from, am I not just manifesting more worry back? Versus the opposite, if I set myself free. And that means I just need to understand, why did I create these walls? Why did I give someone that power? You need to reclaim your power. And then think about the ability to manifest. This is also fast moving energy, and it's mirroring the king. Maybe this person comes in whether you're ready or not. Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide. You can try. You can try. Do I feel like the Emperor, who I feel like is the divine masculine, would walk away because the feminine has these walls up? No. I feel like he would understand it. Maybe give you time, yes. But do I feel like that I would just go away? No. And one of the reasons why is because I feel like the masculine is very clear. Like, it's interesting because it's usually the feminine I feel this energy, but I feel the masculine feels very clear on who he wants. Three of Swords. So they're each going through their own things. Three of Swords, heartache, loss, Five of Cups. That's what you're focusing on. Again, that's what caused the feminine to build up these walls. Ace of Swords. Ring, ring. Maybe. And then look at this, the Three of Wands. Something changes the feminine's mind very quickly. Because the Three of Wands is the energy of optimism. And we're seeing anything but optimism up until this point. Again, I feel like the masculine may have to help the feminine bring down some of these walls, but I feel like they will help because there's no way the Three of Wands would be here if you were still in the Eight of Swords. They just don't go together. Three of Wands is also about living in the present moment. That's where your signs are sent. Again, feminine is being asked to truly listen to her intuition. And there's a reason. So, Three of Wands, just like how we saw God where it said step out of the way. When the Three of Wands, that's what I'm doing. I'm allowing myself to be in the present moment. I'm thinking about my future in a different way now, with optimism, with possibility. Coming over the Ace of Swords, I feel like this is communication from the Emperor, the divine masculine. And it does feel like it changes, well, really everything. Hmm. All right, Five of Wands on the bottom, Nine of Cups under that. We're going to put them together. So, okay, Five of Wands. All right, so it tells me the feminine has been dealing with drama. I understand a little bit more why these walls are built out, right? Drama, other people's drama, fighting, ego, heartache. I really don't feel like it's from the masculine's energy. You know, I'm not going to leave it off the table that some of you could have been together before and maybe you were in a relationship and maybe you did break up and maybe like overcoming that. But I do feel like both went on to live their lives. Both ended up interesting with difficult energy. It literally looks like the masculine is moving closer and closer to your home. So is that physical movement? Maybe. Okay. Let's bring in the Gilded Tarot. And what we're going to do first is we're going to connect them or see what's connecting them. So this is really for both. This to me is more like on a spiritual level. Our connection on a spiritual level. But let's see. I know not everyone's going to agree with me, but when I see the King of Pentacles in the upright, the first thing that pops into my mind is loyalty. Now, maybe they weren't always loyal. Again, I feel like I've matured. I've maybe even had a spiritual awakening. I know who I am. I've known what I've done, right? But I also feel like they wanted to be better, maybe for you, but for themselves. They may have to prove that to you, whether you know them or not. You know what I mean? Because again, the feminine is, feels sad, feels stuck, feels like she's having a hard time overcoming heartache. But then again, the Ace of Swords with the Three of Wands tells me that no, not only can she, but it feels like she does. And I do feel like it's the masculine that is turning her around, so to speak. Oh my gosh. Hello, Will. So, destined. I mean, I already knew that, but now it's literally connecting you both to this destiny. Like both were destined to be together. When I see destiny, I also think that anything that's happened was also meant to happen. And I know some people may be like, why the hell would me going through this heartache, why was that meant to happen? Well, you probably learned something up from it. That's really what you want to look at. Okay, not all love is going to work in our favor. And not all love is meant to work in our favor. Some are like stepping stones to our real love. But this is telling you that this is destined. Whoa. Okay. That's a lot. But let's take what's face up first. Hello, Ten of Cups. Hello, House of Love. House of Harmony. Joy. Laughter. Boy, it feels like a completely different house for her and a completely different house for him. And I kind of love that the masculine has the Ten of Pentacles. So money doesn't seem to be an issue. Even if I have to take a little bit of a hit, I have no doubt this person will just recoup that. But now we have the Ten of Cups. Well, that is the house of love. We have the Page of Cups. And look at this, the Page of Pentacles. Well, it's like the younger versions of my twins. It doesn't have to be like that. Like, it has to be a water sign or it has to be a pentacle, an earth sign. Though, we do have the king right there. So it does feel like the younger version. Feels like two younger versions. But we got a couple more. Ten of Swords. Nine of Cups. Look at that. Ten of Pentacles. And then look at this. The Ace of Cups. So this is at the root. First of all, the Ten of Swords. Kind of feel like that could fit on either side. But this is like taking dagger after dagger in one's back. Could be a repeat pattern. But someone realized that and someone freed themselves. and they're happy about it. Nine of Cups, I do read as singular energy, but we already have the Ten of Cups. So we know that this, first of all, it's the realization of, like, who's been putting these swords in my back? And why do I keep taking it? It can definitely be a repeat pattern. But with the Nine of Cups, it's like, but then someone is breaking themselves free and loving it. Nine of Cups is also about fulfillment of wishes. It's inner harmony, first and foremost. But then it's also about fulfillment of wishes. And look at what comes out with that. The Ten of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups. So where I felt like the masculine may be taking a little bit of a hit in his money, here it is recouped. But look at what's with it. The Ace of Cups. Just look at this line. I mean, yeah, I went a little further than I expected, but that's okay. Destiny. The Ace of Cups. The Ten of Cups. Love, harmony, laughter. The Ten of Pentacles. Stability. A house that truly can take root. Single. First. Because I'm realizing what's had me stuck. Who's been putting daggers in my back. And I'm realizing I probably let it happen too long. So someone freed themselves from that. And wow. And then it just like changes everything. And then this love. I mean, come on. And it's interesting too, because when I was shuffling the deck, I was thinking to myself, our spiritual team really wants to make sure the right cards come out. I don't know why I was feeling that, but I was. And then look what comes out. Ten of Swords feels like it's more on this side. And I do feel like the masculine wanted to free himself. And does. And I feel like that's why we see him hopping onto your side. Again, I don't know why I keep saying you. You may be over here. But this is love. This is real love. This is true love. And it's destined. Each has their own issues. Each has their own experiences. Each has their own heartaches. Each has things that they needed to overcome. I feel like the feminine is still a little stuck. But I do feel like the masculine has the energy to be able to, how do we say this? Like, I feel like when, let's say it starts with communication. Like, because we have the Page of Swords over here with the Sun in reverse. And I feel like the Sun is you. Again, it doesn't even matter if I know you yet. It's just like, I know. Number one, I know this is not my forever person. Maybe I thought it was, but it's not. Because there's no light. But it feels like with the Page of Swords now mirroring the Ace of Swords, it does feel like communication. It feels like it changes you, the feminine. The one thing I want to say though is on the feminine side, just be careful that, it's completely up to you. But again, in the Eight of Swords energy, it's self-created. You are the only person who can uncreate it. Yes, the masculine can help, but they're your walls. They're your barriers. And the High Priestess is like begging you, like, I am your GPS. Listen to me. Don't listen to those negative thoughts. Sometimes our thoughts lie to us. It's like your spiritual team understands that you've been through it. And sometimes when we have heartache, we feel like that's it. Life is over. And then our phone rings. You know, it is Sam and I's story. And then the phone rings. And it changes everything. It definitely changes the way the feminine is looking, let's just say, at life. Because again, optimistic. Look at the beauty of what connects them. I mean, I could just stop right here, but I'm not gonna. Though I don't feel like I need to clarify every card because I feel like this story is pretty clear. So we'll see. We'll just play it by ear. Judgment. Judgment. Do I feel like the masculine is either having a spiritual awakening, had a spiritual awakening, or is on his way? I do. I feel like the masculine is listening to his spiritual team like never before. I do feel like the masculine has like faith. I'm not going to say religion. He may have religion. Um, but I feel like it's faith. Judgment is a call to the present moment. It talks about a rebirth. It's almost like the masculine spiritual team knows what they're going through and wants to like present another avenue if they so choose. I mean, I love that their spiritual team is now involved. They've always been involved, but that they're even showing themselves. Then we have victory and success again. You know, this person is not a bum. This person is a hard worker. Look at this. Six of Cups. Someone that I used to know. This is someone, when you think about them, they bring happy memories to mind. This is the remembrance of happier times. It's interesting. This masculine may be moving back to like a hometown or to a place because I don't know why, but I do feel that the masculine may be in movement. Number one, chances are they're leaving this house, but where are they going? It, judgment is what's ushering this energy out. And by the way, 6 and 6 again, 66. There's something about that. I would say the way I'm feeling it is to put a number on it. I would say 60% already know this person. 40%, I feel like you don't know. You know the feeling of it, but you may not know who yet. But for 60% of you, I feel like you do know. And that's why I feel like in the Five of Cups, where I'm really focusing on what I lost, maybe part of my attention is on this person. It's what I used to do when I was in bad situations. I remember laying my head down at night and thinking about Sam because we were teenage lovers. I mean, I don't know if I should have said lovers, but um, and then we broke up. And then 40 years after the fact, my phone rang. And now we live together. Took me 5 years before I found the guts because it was me who had to move. But I ultimately did it. King of Cups. I feel like a King of Cups is showing certainly it could be a water sign. This is why I don't like giving signs so much because I don't want someone to think it like it has to be a water sign. To me, the King of Cups would represent someone who is very open to love. This is someone who I feel like really does cherish relationships. Probably knows not all relationships are going to work out. They're seeking their sun, and I feel like that is you. They're seeking their light, and I feel like that is you. I feel like the masculine has complete clarity over his life. Look at this. Hello, Empress. Oh, look at that. The sun wanted to come up with it. The sun wanted to come up with the Empress. Okay, but first we have the Page of Swords. Interesting because we have the Page of Swords right below it also. And now we have the Empress. So we have the Emperor over here, the Empress over here. I mean, come on. It's like each is on each other's mind. I feel like also what you want to keep in mind as the Empress is what she has learned through her experiences because she's been through it, just like the Emperor. She's also been through it. She's been through, like, I feel like all the queens pass. But the Empress has learned, or maybe this is what you are learning, how to keep your heart open, how to, let love and nurturing be a part of who you are. It is a part of who you are already, but it is asking you not to close your heart down. The Empress does not close her heart down. Now, this could be how the masculine sees you right now. So, this is putting you at the top, right? Like, there has been no one like you, and there will never be anyone like you. So, if they know you, then they're having that realization. And again, the sun that's in reverse wanted to come up with the Empress. So now I do know for a fact that this reversal of the sun is because the Empress is the Emperor's light. Huh. We have Seven of Cups. So coming over the Eight of Swords makes sense. This means that you are making an emotional decision. Seven of Cups is not the easiest energy to make a decision from. Sometimes it can feel chaotic. Again, the Eight of Wands below it could be, again, fast moving energy. The only issue, let's say, is the Seven of Cups over the Eight of Swords could certainly make it harder to make a clear decision. But I feel like here's what you want to do: follow your heart. Like, follow your heart. You can always say no if you so choose. We have the Knight of Swords. And look at this, the High Priestess, right here, the Five of Cups. Boy, boy, oh boy. Does your spiritual team, or at least the feminine spiritual team, want them to uncreate that prison? Yes. Does your spiritual team really want you to listen to your intuition? Yes. Because you're being guided. You may feel somewhat lost. And that's the perfect time to give it to your guides, to give it to God. I don't know what to do. Bring down the walls. Don't let fear come between you and the potential of this beautiful life. You know, the Knight of Swords right in between that, it feels like this communication comes in whether I'm ready or I'm not. And then it puts you in that question mode. But you know, the funny thing is, I feel like the answer is already yes, but I may overthink it. You know I don't want to go back into the Three of Swords energy. I know that. But I don't feel like this has anything to do with what was. And it has everything to do with the potential of what can be. I love that you're showing in each other's readings. Six of Swords. Okay. So now we see actually the masculine in movement. You know, he had the Five of Swords, right? So it's the realization of what's been toxic to him. You know, toxic people. But I already felt like he had had enough. I feel like, almost like he was asking his spiritual team, help guide me. Maybe he did feel like guilty for leaving. But again, there is zero love over here. I'm not going to say that there wasn't, but there isn't now. None. So I'm leaving. And again, we have the masculine in movement. Looking this direction. You know what I want to say for the feminine? If you know who this is and you want to reach out, I would tell you to reach out because I'm really sure about this masculine knowing that they want a major change in their life. But I also know that you're part of that. Look at this. We keep getting 66. So we have 66 again. Look at that coming under the Empress. Compassionate. You know, it's interesting because it's coming over the Six of Pentacles, but here the sun has gone down. And Six of Pentacles really talks about, that fine art of give and take. But it's coming from compassionate souls. So I feel like the one thing that the masculine and the feminine have in common, well, they have many things in common, but let's just say in their lifetimes, is I feel like they're both givers. Maybe not always, but I do feel like they've always had a compassionate heart, but again, when I'm younger, versus when I'm mature, it can mean there can be a big difference. Even this line, look at this line: judgment, spiritual team, calling to the present moment. There is about to be a rebirth. Look what the trumpet is pointing down to. And I swear, I don't even, like when I put a card down, I'm not really even thinking about it. I just put it down. But now I see that the way I put it, it's right under judgment. It's right under judgment's trumpet. It is like pointing out to the masculine, the feminine's energy. It's almost like the spiritual team is saying, go get her, go get her. It's almost like permission. Maybe this person's faith is that strong where, maybe they had that belief that you stick it out. But I feel like they did stick it out. But, sooner or later, you have a right to be happy in your life at the same time. Look at this, the Eight of Cups. Beautiful. Exactly what I'd want to see. Seven of Cups, Eight of Cups. So the Eight of Cups means that this feminine has found emotional clarity. That means, first of all, it is an eight, so it is about a new beginning. This is when I've taken the time to look within my emotional house to try to understand it. It's not about judging oneself. Sometimes it's just that realization of like, okay, so I thought the last cup was the one. And sometimes we feel like, okay, well, we'll probably never love again. But you can merely just look back at your past and know that, love does come back again. And sometimes, almost always, it's very unexpected. I don't feel like the feminine expects this at all. But this person in the Eight of Cups, what are they heading towards? The Nine of Cups, inner harmony. So, where I feel like the masculine has found it, I feel like the feminine is now on her way. I'm so happy to see that because you freed yourself. Even if you don't go with this energy, even if you say no, I don't even care. I'm just so happy that you freed yourself, that you're listening to your intuition and you're trusting it. And I feel like the rest will take care of itself. All right, see if anything else wants to come out. I love how the cards just like easily come out. Hello, Emperor. Hello, Emperor. Connected now right to that Ace of Cups. Also, that Six of Cups. By the way, the Emperor is a card of Aries. And for some of you, it could certainly be an Aries, but that's really not how I'm reading it. I'm reading them as the divine masculine and the divine feminine. Okay. Well, I was going to say one more shuffle, but we got a few, so we'll take them. Oh my gosh. This is my favorite love card. This is the marriage card, and that's not why it's my favorite card. It's because it's true love, true commitment. By the way, if you have kids, don't worry about it. They will love your kids. If they have kids, don't worry about it. You will love their kids. It can certainly be the blending of families, but this is true love. This is true love. And I feel like this is coming out to let you know that this really does have the potential lasts forever. Don't forget that the masculine got the world. And you hear me say it all the time when the world shows, I feel like whatever follows, follows for the rest of your life. That's why you really want to think about that, right? Like, okay, this is the last year of a 9-year cycle. This is a chance for me to really clean house. And this is symbol to the universe that you're open to whatever is next. And your intuition is also open. Oh my gosh. And are you going to get married? Wow. Let me just say, I feel like you will be together for the rest of your lives. Oh, wow. The world. So now the feminine and the masculine both have the world. That is connected to the marriage card. I'm like, enjoy over here. Ah, the Knight of Pentacles. And then look what the Knight of Pentacles brings out, the Lovers. Now, this is a perfect image of how I feel like twin flame readings or twin flames are. You see the feminine, right? She's in, like, we can see that she's in current energy. There's the masculine behind her. He hasn't reached her yet, but she can feel him. She can feel him. This is why your intuition is so important. You'll be able to feel the energy. Knight of Pentacles. To me, it is one of your, I feel like it's a guardian angel. But this Knight of Pentacles has a few different messages. And the first one is patience. But I can see why patience is needed. But the second one is the knowing that this night comes at the right time. Right when I'm meant to come in. This night tells you that what I bring is meant to truly enhance your life. And it's something that's coming into your physical world. It's not a feeling. It is. Like in the Lovers, where the feminine, we can see her, the masculine still, like, is not in person yet. But the Knight of Pentacles would tell you that that's what I bring in. And it's literally what the Knight is bringing in. But it's at the right time. Not before. And not after. Everyone here is being called to the present moment. Everyone here is receiving signs, guidance. Not everyone is picking up on them, but everyone has the ability. This is a beautiful reading. And the only thing I don't want to do is give anyone false hope. Because how long does it take for the masculine to change what he needs to change? And how long does it take the feminine to change what she needs to change? If they so choose. What's the time? Well, it's probably going to be different for each. But I feel like, can we, get ready? Well, of course we can. We can uncreate that prison. We can stop focusing on the past and start thinking about the potential of your future. Call to the present moment. It feels like it's for everyone. You're a special angel telling you that when this happens, it is the right time. Let's not forget the wheel. Destiny connects them. Wow, wow, wow. Even this Nine of Cups over here, someone becoming single. I feel like over here in the Eight of Cups, it's the divine feminine freeing herself, whatever that may mean, but she's freeing her thoughts. which moves her also into the Nine of Cups. And what a perfect time to fall in love. Okay. Um, I'm going to bring in the clarifying love situations, and I'm just going to take a couple over this whole reading. I mean, I feel like this reading is so clear. All right. I have the romance angels here also. I almost feel like we don't need them. Like sometimes I feel like we shouldn't push fate. Ticking clock. Let love unfold naturally and give it time to grow. Let love unfold naturally. That means try to keep fear, even though it's natural to have a little fear, right? Especially when you start to feel like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm falling in love, but yet, that's why it's important to clear the past. That's how you can really allow the new. So let love unfold naturally. All right. Anything else? Okay, quite a few things. Or two things. In a fog, fear, obligation, or guilt makes you stay. Get clarity. Oh, fear, obligation, or guilt makes you stay. Get clarity. Did I not say all that for the masculine? Holy cow. Finding forever. Your path holds infinite possibilities if you dare. Wow, sounds like a challenge. Beautiful challenge. Your path holds infinite possibilities if you dare. Another reason to put down that Eight of Swords. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll bring in the romance angels. It's like so much love, I can't take it. You know, believe in miracles. I really never thought Sam and I were going to come back together. Yes, I would fantasize and wonder, like, oh, I wonder what he's doing in his life. I wonder how he is. I wonder what it would have been like if we stayed together. Like I did those things. What was my point? I forget what my point was. Oh, to just believe in the potential of the unexpected. I never expected that Sam and I would be back together. I honestly never expected that. But here we are. And when I tell you, like the runner and chaser, well, again, it took me 5 years. Even though every part of me knew I wanted to be here, it just took me forever to make up that final decision. Stay optimistic about your love life. Positive thinking and faith will bring you romance. Stay optimistic. Well, that's what the Three of Wands is, optimism. It's saying to the universe, I know you'll bring my ships in, and I know they're going to come in divine timing, and I'm okay with that. In the meantime, I'm going to get excited about my life. I'm going to do things that make me happy. I'm going to learn how to bring joy into my life. And I feel like outside of love, just what can I do to really enjoy my life again? Maybe it is where it says, if you dare, maybe it is about taking some chances. Let your friends help you. Ask for and accept support from others. Okay. It kind of feels like the feminine's Eight of Swords energy. Pay attention to the red flags. This could be the one. You've already met the romantic partner you seek. Well, for some of you, I know that's true. Healing family issues. Your love life benefits as you forgive your parents. Interesting. Like out of the blue, right? But for some, it may be a real thing. You know, as you learn to heal and forgive all, you just become freer and freer and freer. It's not even about having to pick up a phone and saying, hey, I forgive you. It's just you're forgiving in your heart. You're saying, I'm not going to carry this energy along with me any longer. I want to be like the full, free, and clear, and the willing to take these leaps of faith. I have a feeling pay attention to the red flags, or for both, but I don't feel like they're about each other. I feel like maybe the masculine got a red flag about this person. But listen, most of the time, we don't pay attention to these red flags until our intuition is truly opened. But look at this, though. This could be the one. And for some of you, you've already met that romantic partner you seek. Okay, I feel like I want to take one more, I was going to say swig, but not a swig, one more round. See if anything else wants to come out. Now is the time. Free yourself, and the rest will follow. It's time to take back control of your life and let go of control issues. Allow this situation to unfold naturally. There's two energies that speak about the same thing, right? And it's interesting because if you look at this image, she looks a little resistant, right? But I don't feel, and it's interesting because I feel like it's almost like he's got to go through the daughter to reach the mother. But I feel like he will. Remember, this is about allowing it to unfold naturally. There's not much you don't really have to push an agenda because it's destined. And again, the Knight of Pentacles talks about, yes, you may have needed patience. Patience is a virtue. But the promise of coming in at just the right time. Not to talk about myself, but I have to say, just who I am. I'm a very loyal person, even to those who don't deserve it, like in love. Um, and I had been with someone for 25 years, and I mean, we still remain friends, don't get me wrong, but I broke up with them. And then it was 2 weeks after. It was actually a day that it was a low time, and, I was just having a bad day. And I was about to, I was calling my ex to invite him over, and that's when Sam's call rung in, call waiting. Well, do you think I still invited my ex over? No, that was the end. And it was the beginning of Sam and I again. And I only tell you that because if it would have happened 2 weeks before that, I wouldn't have taken the call because I know that it would have tempted me. And my guides knew that. And I feel like that's why I was 2 weeks single. Now I was free, free to make my own decisions, my own choices. And so I did. So that's the only reason I'm telling you that is because when I say right timing, I understand what this night means. Like, again, if Sam would have called earlier, maybe I would have taken the call, but I wouldn't have cheated. And I would have felt bad about taking the call. But our whole story, just the way everything happened, I won't go into all of it, but, I feel like it was all divinely guided. And by the way, I was 58. I wasn't young. Young at heart. Anyways, okay, I'm gonna let this be. Um, mm, this is why I love doing tarot so much. This is why I love connecting with our spiritual team. They never disappoint. They always make it interesting. They do bring out everything, right? There's issues here, but it's showing how each can overcome, right? And ultimately how it can come together. Okay, I'm going to let that be. This is one, some of my favorite readings is this reading, Twin Flame, and a past life reading. I really like doing them close together. I did a past life reading probably about a week or 2 weeks ago. So, for some of you, if you watch that reading, it may resonate with this reading. Like I almost wish I had the time to go back and watch the past life to see how it resonates, but I have a feeling. I just have a feeling it does. And who knows? Well, I won't be able to do it for a couple days, but I may do another past life. Just why? Because because these souls know each other for eternity. You know, well, even if we don't come together in this lifetime, we'll still be together. And the essence of each other are always connected. Okay, I'm still talking. I love you guys. Thank you for just allowing me to read the way I read. I loved it. I loved it. Yes, issues, but look beyond that. There's a lot of beauty in this reading. There's a lot of clarity. There's a lot of overcoming. There's a lot of recognition of who you are today, and you should be very proud of that. Doesn't mean that you're completely healed. And that's just life, right? I feel like half of our, like, I feel like we're always healing. But we should not let the past get in the way of our future, the potential of this beautiful future. And let me tell you, I wish for you, it's for those who are on this journey and those who are meant to come together, that it comes together seamlessly and with knowing. I love you guys. I'll see you next time at our table. Bye bye.